Okay, I think we're ready to go. Okay, so good afternoon, sorry, and welcome to the latest webinar on the new Relic Infrastructure product. I don't know, some of you may have tuned into previous ones where kind of deep diving into the product itself and what you can get out of it. What we've decided to do with this one is to just get the most out of your trial. So how to deploy the New Relic agent and get the metrics flowing up, implementing some custom attributes and creating different filters and stuff. So before we get started, just a little bit of housekeeping. Today's webinar is being recorded, so a link of that recording will be emailed to each of the registrants later on. Please keep your questions to the questions panel. We will have a Q&A session after the demonstration. Also, there'll be a brief survey about the webinar, so any kind of feedback you have is greatly appreciated because it helps us fine-tune this webinar series and other series to make them as useful as possible. Okay, so the timeline for today, we have an hour parked, but because the agent is so easy to install and because it's so easy to configure, it shouldn't take the entire hour. I kind of see maybe 15-20 minutes going through the environment, installing things and getting all your data into your account, and maybe a 10 or 15 minute Q&A session, depending on how many questions there are there. Any questions that we don't get to during that session, I will follow up in person after the call. Okay, so like I said, quick agenda. So my name is Scott Lewis. I'm a sales engineer here at New Relic, and I'll be going through, getting the infrastructure agent deployed and configured, gathering information from your infrastructure quickly, and just basically getting the most out of New Relic's infrastructure product. And at the end, like I said, brief Q&A. So before we start, I suppose the very first step during any trial is to sign up, okay, create an account, download the agents. Okay, so all you got to do is go to newrelic.com, click on infrastructure. You'll see this screen here. Gives you a brief overview. Sign up, put in your details, and that's basically the first step. Okay, so that's the critical piece. So now you have your account, you'll have your license key, you'll have your 30-day free trial, and you just go to your RPM account using the link that's provided. So I'm going to go to my one right now. So what you should see is this. So you'll just go to the infrastructure tab and you'll be presented with a couple of options. Okay, so how to deploy the agent given the different environments, so if you're Linux or Windows. Okay, so what I've decided to do today is I'm going to go with Linux, but I'm going to go with a VM on a AWS account that I've created. Okay, there's not too much difference. In fact, there's very little difference. The commands are all the same. For Windows, if you click on Windows, it gives you a step-by-step guide. You download the installer, you just follow each step, and it's as easy as that. Just quit this for a second. Similarly with Linux, if you're directly on the machine, you just select first of all whether you are using Yum or apt, and you follow the step-by-step guide. It's really that simple, okay? And then it should just take a matter of minutes to get those metrics once you have the agent deployed up to your New Relic account. So like I said, I'm going to go with Linux, but I'm going to do it from an AWS environment that I have. So I basically have these two microservices. Well, sorry. Micro hosts, I beg your pardon, and I'm going to deploy the agent on each, and I'm going to add some custom attributes to each. I'm going to give them differing names, and we'll then send that data to New Relic, and we'll have a little sift through some of the kind of key features. I'll probably show you how to do some AWS integration for those of you who want to see more of that. And that's what we're going to do. Okay, so without further ado, the first thing you'll need to do, you'll see here, license key. Now, it will capture your own license key, so you don't have to go off to the settings or anything like that and capture it. It'll pre-populate these commands with your own license key, so you literally just copy and paste. Okay, so I'm just going to open up my portal here. So what I've done here is, I'm just going to zoom in. I've dialed into the first machine, and I now have a remote session in there. So the first thing I'm going to do is to, first of all, switch to super user. Okay, and then I'm going to run the Yum update. Say yes to that. And while that's running, I'm going to copy the first command. And when the update has completed, I will just paste it and run it. A few things that I also have here pre-prepared. So the custom attributes I'm going to add in. So a display name, so that's the display name for the actual machine. So I'm just going to call it Web 01. Verbose, that's the amount of logging that the infrastructure agent is going to do. Environment, I'm going to set it to test. The application, web, so that would be the web application that you may be monitoring with APM that's on that host, and then the team, so the QA team. Okay, so I'll just have that pre-prepared there. Okay, so we're in. So create the YAML file. Next step is simply update these. Done. Now we want to simply update the Yum cache. Okay, done. And finally, run the infrastructure agent installation script. It should only take a couple of moments. Yeah, okay, done already. So far, so good. And that should be literally it. The agent is now deployed on that particular host. It's already going to start capturing metrics, and then it'll send them to New Relic. Those harvest cycles, in case you weren't aware, are every 5 seconds. But there's a few other things we want to do with this host. So first thing we want to do, well, I suppose verify that the agent is actually up and running. So control status Relic Infra. Okay, so it's up and running. Process ID 8139. That's all good. Next we want to do is add some custom attributes. Okay, so Relic Infra. Oh. Sorry, that YAML. That's the stuff. Okay, so we can see our license key is already in there from when we created earlier on. So each line, you need a line break, okay, for this to be read correctly. So first things first, so display name maybe. Okay, colon, space. I'll give it actually a name. It would be good. So AWS Web 01. Go. Logging. Okay, verbose. Set it to 0. Custom attributes. And it goes without saying that you can add as many kind of custom attributes as you wish in here. So I'm just going to stick to the 3 that I mentioned earlier on. So this is a critical piece as well. So tab won't work. Okay, you need to actually use proper spaces, white spaces. So 4. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now environment, env, test, line break. 1, 2, 3, 4. App, web. Let's keep it consistent. Okay, and the team then maybe. So team QA. And we're done. Okay, let's save it. Yep. Okay, do Relic for YAML. Good, all done. And then the final thing to do is to just restart the agent. So restart Relic Infra. So reading, it's done, it's running. New process ID 8471. We'll keep a note of that because we'll be able to track all this, of course, once we're in the account. So the next thing to do, I guess, is to switch back to your New Relic account. We'll just give it a refresh. Might just make it a minute for this to come through. We'll just give that a moment. So apart from here, where you can get the instructions, the installation instructions, the other place to go for all sorts of instructions on how to pretty much do anything with any of the agents or the products is the documentation site, which is docs.newrelic.com. Just switch to the infrastructure piece. So we're straight into the infrastructure documentation here, where it'll give you a list of compatibility and requirements, beg your pardon, and then installation guides for Windows, Linux, adding custom attributes, adding filters, alerts, all that kind of stuff as well. So let's just see, we should have some views. Okay, so we have these metrics starting to flow up. So I'm just going to reduce the time window here to the last 30 minutes. So you can see that it's picking up events here. The agents probably started around here, so that event's being tracked as well. And we're starting to capture CPU and load and memory, and you're starting to get all the stuff that you'd expect to see with infrastructure, okay? But you can see that it was really quick to get that host up and running. So we can see here, so I haven't applied any filters yet, okay? So we've got one host, AWS Web 01. Let's have a little look. So, okay, so there's the main attributes, but if we scroll down, okay, so app, web, that's one of the custom attributes. The other one was the environment and test, that's right, and the team is QA. So we can see all these kind of default attributes that you get from AWS, okay, as well as those custom ones that we put in now. And because we have them in there, when you're trying to filter across your, server set, you might want to group by any of these attributes. Okay, so they'll appear in the group section, okay, in here, or if you want to apply a filter, they'll appear also in this section here in this drop down, okay. But what we'll do first is we might just get the other one going as well. So I'll just switch back to my console. So I just want to exit real quick. Okay, So I'm just going to do this real quick. Okay, set the permissions on the key file. So that was all 2. Okay. 2, and just copy the IP address. It's 217. This new one is 57, right? Yeah. Oops, sorry. Okay, let's just paste that in there. Okay. Yep. Okay, so now it's this second machine, and I just have to go through the same process again. So I actually have it all here. So sudo su. Okay. Yum update. Yep. Okay, and while that's doing that, we'll just jump back to infrastructure itself. So just in case this is a first time for anyone looking at actually infrastructure itself, I'm just going to point out a few kind of key things. So we'll look at the filters when I have that second host reporting data up. But the key things here are obviously, okay, so CPU, load, memory. You can apply groups. Maybe it's by machines in a different region or a different size, or like I said, assigned to a different team, or any number of labels or custom attributes you might apply. Excuse me. And then along the top here, you have the event timeline. So this is a critical piece. So this is basically tracking changes to the environment, okay, at any moment in time, and we're tracking, you know, what changed, when it changed, and who changed it. Okay, so that's critical in case, you know, somebody edits a configuration file for something, and next thing you get an explosion in CPU time or something like that, or maybe even something goes down. Being able to track that event right now without infrastructure is extremely difficult and time consuming. But with infrastructure, it should drastically reduce that mean time to resolution. So as an example, we can just jump in here, and we're looking at all the events from that small time window. So we're looking at, you know, an agent was connected, there were some updates applied, the infrastructure agent was started, we have the, it was actually restarted, so there's the old process ID and there's the new process ID, okay. The display name, so that's me making my changes with the custom attributes. Wrong one, this one. Okay, so AWS Web 01, some more custom attributes. I added, yep, the app, the environment, and the team. So it's tracking all of this stuff, and then it's tracking. There's me disconnecting, EC2 user. Okay, so you know, you can see who's logged in, who's making changes to the environment, and what are they actually changing. The other cool thing is with the inventory search. So you know, this would be more relevant maybe when I've got a few more servers up there, but right now, if you just wanted to check, for example, okay, OpenSSL maybe, OpenSLL, okay, that was the problem there. Yeah, there we go. So we can see that I've actually got 4 hosts up there right now, and it's just giving the version and the build number of all those packages across all the different hosts. You can see the host names there. And as you add or spin up more hosts, you know, they'll automatically get added into, you know, your New Relic account. And as you perform that inventory search, you'll be able to search across the entire field of servers. And the same with the event tracking as well. So just jump quickly back to the console. Okay, that's done. Okay, so we want to license key. Okay. Make some changes. And that's done. Okay, cache. Cool. Okay, And now install the agent on this new server. Done. Okay. Finally, check status. $81.79. Good stuff. Okay, and I guess we should obviously add some custom attributes to this new server. We'll tweak them a little bit so we can differentiate. So, insert our line break. And display name AWS Web 2. Not very creative, but it does the job. Verbose 0. Custom attributes. Okay, so environment. Let's stick that to. Okay, maybe I'll keep it at test. The app is still web. Oh. But the team is time. Okay. Right, done. Restart the agent. Relic Infra. Great, new process ID 28408. Cool. So we can now go back to infrastructure, and again, it'll just take a couple of moments for that new host to filter up. In the meantime, we can just have a quick look at some other features. So if you're creating alert policies for any of these metrics that we're capturing, as you add new hosts to that particular group, they automatically get added to these alert policies, so you don't have to constantly configure these policies and conditions. At any time as well, you can spin up any of these charts in Insights. So if anybody on the call isn't familiar with Insights, it is kind of real-time analytics, okay, from New Relic. It's also where we kind of consume all that AWS data, which we're going to look at in a moment as well. So this allows you to query basically in real time any of the metrics or attributes that we're capturing from any of the agents in the platform. You have all your network information in there, error rates, drop packages, etc. Keeping a look at the flow, and again, you can filter on different groups of servers or servers with associated with a particular application maybe, or a different size, or any of the different attributes, customize or otherwise, as you'd expect. You can see them in full list breakdown there. Storage, just tracking the disk space. Are you running out? Is it nearly running out? Setting up alert policies to keep an eye on that kind of thing as well. I'm not going to go into too much detail about all the little bits and pieces about infrastructure, because that's, we have another bunch of webinars about it, but just the kind of key things. I did mention the integrations. So this is already consuming my AWS data, okay? So it's just a step-by-step guide, a bit like the installation. Copy, paste, click. The whole thing should take about 2 minutes, and you'll basically be presented with this screen here. Okay, so these are all the different AWS services that we're consuming right now. So I just have the EC2 deployed, so we can just click on it, and it just spins up a bunch of default widgets in Insights, looking at some key metrics. It's tracking events. It's looking at the inventory. Okay, so you get the same functionality in Insights, which is really, really cool. Instances by region and types and stuff like that. But you can customize these or create your own at any depending on what it is you want to see. So to get an idea on how to build these queries, you just click on the little icon in the widget. It'll show you, so you can see we're selecting all this information from compute sample. and you can just, like I said, build whatever it is you want to see over whatever time range you want to see. So you can build it into the query, or you have a time picker here, so you want it just 30 minutes, or maybe 60 minutes, or something custom. The world's your oyster from that regard. So just to jump back then, let's just see how many hosts. Oh, we can see it's picking up the second host there already. Okay, great stuff. So here we have the two hosts, so Web01, Web02. Let's just double check the attributes for the latest one. So web, yep. Environment test, yep. Team dev, that's the one. Great stuff. Okay, so we now have two different hosts. This is where you can start to add filters, okay, or build, I suppose, silos of servers based on, region or size or application or team or any of these kind of things. So let's just say, so the app, that's the same. We'll just do it. No, didn't want to do the app. We'll do it with the team. Okay, so now we're just looking at any of the servers that are associated with the QA team, okay? And you can do it with the application and, of course, like I said, any of the different attributes that you're passing up. So as you kind of group and filter these, you're only going to be looking at the servers that matter to, that team or that application or whatever the case may be. If it is monitoring an application with the APM agent, the APM metrics will be pulled in here with regard to response times and stuff like that as well. You'll be able to jump back and forth between APM and infrastructure. So again, the platform exposing these advantages, of being able to kind of communicate back and forth and correlate all the different kind of endpoints. And yeah, as you look at the, like I said, the inventory now, when we look at SSL, I'm sure we'll see, yeah, exactly. Web 01, Web 02, events. Let me see if it, so the last 30 minutes. Service started, adding custom attributes. All these things are being pulled in there. Probably when we go to EC2 then as well, it'll probably pick up. So maybe if I do a select unique team, maybe. From compute sample since 30 minutes ago. 10 minutes ago, QA dev. So that information is now also going into Insights, and it's also being consumed from AWS. So you can see that entire process, in fact, adding two servers, two infrastructure, getting the metrics in, adding custom attributes, building some filters, and let me see, like you can save this. Well, just give it a name, filter set, QA. Okay, so forevermore now, any kind of any servers that belong to the QA team will just automatically get added to that filter set. So this whole process took about 10 or 15 minutes. It could have been quicker. We hung around in a few things, kind of digging into extra parts of the product, but I think you'd agree that it's a very simple process. And again, this was AWS hosted Linux environments. This could easily have been somewhere in your own private cloud, or maybe kind of sitting under your desk, or it could be a Windows machine. It's as quick, okay, and as intuitive as well. So just to kind of recap then, let me just bring up the power slides. So go to Relic.com, sign up for a free trial, follow the steps to download the agents to get those metrics in. Just to point out as well that until 21st of December this year, there is a 25% discount, okay, on infrastructure if you contact your New Relic account exec. Okay, so yeah, get in there, download those agents, and it's critical as well to to download them and install them on all the hosts, regardless of size or importance. Okay, because it's all about visibility across the entire stack. Because it's Murphy's law that the server that you're not monitoring is the one that'll bring down your system or cause you the problems, and you won't have to physically down. So it's a lightweight agent. It doesn't take up much memory at all. Its overheads are between 3 and 5%. So yeah, get it out there and installed. Cool. So that concludes the demo part of it. What I'll do now is maybe have a look at some Q&A. We'll do a bit of Q&A for a little while. So, excuse me. Can I use Infra on CoreOS? So right now the answer is no. Not in this first iteration. It will be on a later iteration, which will be very shortly. I think that's the very next thing we're working on. Is there any kind of integration out of the box with Docker? Well, the answer is yes. I mean, I don't have any examples, but we use Docker heavily in Relic, and you can spin up the infrastructure agent with your Docker containers, and it'll show you, all the stuff you'd expect to see. Also, if you've got the APM agent inside your containers, monitoring maybe the application that's in that container as well, it'll pick those up. You'll be able to correlate, the response times and the CPU and the memory usage and all that kind of stuff. So I suppose the short answer there is yes. Default New Relic server agent doesn't work for infrastructure. You need to install a separate New Relic Infra agent. Okay, so I guess what you mean by default, I guess you mean the old server agent. So yeah, the original server agent, so that will be kind of put out to pasture soon. It's not available for anybody signing up to new accounts. It's anybody who has got it installed on an existing account, they'll still be able to use it for a time. It's not like we're going to deactivate it, but no, it's no longer kind of available for new users. I have to go. The session recording be forwarded. Yeah, so again, this session is being recorded, and it will be sent to everybody, as well as being available on the New Relic website afterwards. Can you use some other demo account with more agents so that new features demo does make sense? Yeah, I kind of demonstrated the new features. I mean, being able to silo different servers based on default attributes or your custom attributes. I kind of demonstrated that. I don't have an account with loads of servers to show, but as you kind of spin up your own and you add your own attributes and you create your own filter sets, it'll become very obvious, and it's all in the documentation as well. Cool. Is reporting available? There's no, so like, I suppose, I don't know what you kind of mean, but like built-in reports or email reports. What I did show was its integration with Insights, okay, and that's what we use for reporting. Okay, you can spin up any kind of widgets or dashboards showing any information that you like. It is updated every minute, okay, and the other thing about those widgets is that they can be exposed as iframes, so you can actually make them available on a web page for internal usage or customer usage or whatever the case may be. The overhead of the New Relic infrastructure, okay, what is it? Okay, so like I said, obviously it depends on the size of the machine, the spec of the machine. So, the overhead on a T2 micro like I was using versus, one of the, C3 large or whatever, it's going to be very different. But on, an average type of server, it's, it's under 5%. It's more around the kind of 3% mark. But I mean, the net is like it's very, very low. Okay, with the integrations of AWS services, can the monitoring and alerting pick up things like SQS queues with random names? Yeah, that's a tricky one. SQS queues. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, I want to say yes because basically we're just consuming everything from CloudWatch. So, I mean, if it's there, we'll get it. But that's, yeah, I might have to follow up, Rob, on that one with you offline. Excuse me. Is New Relic supporting big data architecture? How about the license in this case? I'm not really sure what you mean by big data architecture, but basically, with regard to licensing and infrastructure, it goes on CPU usage. So there's an algorithm. I mean, it looks like the RAM and the cores and the units, so how much you're using, and it's based off of that. So it's all on the web page, or you can have a rep explain it to you over the phone. We can actually, during the trial, we can calculate it for you. What does integration with other AWS services mean? Does it pick up all default metrics in CloudWatch? So yeah, so basically there's 12 default services that we integrate with now. It's on the documentation. You probably saw it in the list on my own account. But there'll be more and more services added to over time. It's just there are the 12 that got released with the product. Currently we're using servers. Is there any quick option to migrate to infrastructure? No, unfortunately the answer there is quite simply no, because they're two separate agents. You just have to install the new infrastructure agent on those servers to get all that extra stuff. Cool, okay, I think we're about out of questions. So yeah, so just to wrap up real quick, sign up for the account, download the agent everywhere. You've seen how quickly you can do it. You can also, use Ansible or any of these other kind of scripting tools to kind of spin them up automatically as well. And you'll have that data in minutes, and you'll be able to, search for versions of applications or security patches that you have on your machines, so you can quickly spot what servers might need to be upgraded in case of a security alert. You can also track events, who's logged in, who's changing what effect it's having, all that kind of cool stuff, as well as the AWS integration, if that's where you're hosted. I just want to say a quick thank you very much for attending today's webinar, and I'm sure I'll speak to everyone again soon. Thank you very much.